Alright fellas, let me ask you a question. Have you ever had a pocket full of change and thought, there's gotta be something in here worth more than a stick of gum? Well, guess what? You might have walked around with over $1 million in your pocket and didn't even know it. Yeah, I said 1 million. Today we're talking about the 1976 Lincoln penny. One little copper coin that could be worth a staggering $1.3 million in today's market. That's right. 1.3 million. For a penny. Kinda makes you want to go dig through the couch cushions right now. How about hold on to your magnifying glass, because we're going to break down why this coin is so rare, what makes it valuable, and how you could spot one yourself. And yeah, I'll throw in a little personal story about how I almost tossed a rare coin in a vending machine. Spoiler alert, I didn't. And thank goodness for that, so grab your coffee or crack open a cold one, and let's dive into the wild world of coin hunting. This ain't your grandma's stamp collection, boys. We're talking serious money. Let's set the stage. It's 1976. America's celebrating its bicentennial. People are rocking bell-bottoms, disco balls are spinning, and the Denver Mint is pumping out Lincoln pennies like hotcakes. Over 4 billion were made that year with the little D mint mark under the date. So you might be thinking, how the heck is one of those worth more than a Lamborghini? Not all pennies are created equal. Most of those 4 billion pennies were perfectly normal. But then there's the rare few, those weird misfits that had something go sideways during production. The kind of errors that make collectors go absolutely bonkers. The $1 million 1976 Lincoln penny we're talking about? It's one of those ultra-rare mint errors. And it's not just any error, either. This bad boy has a rare double die obverse. That means the front of the coin, the side with Abe Lincoln's iconic mug, was struck twice by the die, but slightly off. You'll notice the doubling especially in the word Liberty and the date. It's like Lincoln got a little tipsy at the mint party. Now here's where things get even juicier. Not only does this penny have the doubling, but it also has a super clean, uncirculated condition. We're talking mint state, almost like it just rolled off the press and took a time machine to today. That combo of rare error and pristine condition? That's what makes it worth over $1 million to serious collectors. And let's be honest, it makes the rest of our piggy banks feel a little underwhelming. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years back, I was cleaning out my junk drawer, you know, the one with old batteries, rubber bands, and about 50 cents in loose change. I found a shiny little 1976 penny. It looked too clean to be normal. I almost used it to buy a candy bar at the gas station, but something told me to hang on to it. I went online, did a little research, and realized I might have struck copper gold. Sent it in for grading, heart racing like I was on an episode of Antiques Roadshow. Turned out, it wasn't the one. But it was still worth a couple $100. Not bad for a penny I almost fed to a vending machine, and that's what I love about coin collecting. It's like treasure hunting for grown men. You're not just hoarding old change, you're solving mysteries, finding history, and maybe, just maybe, cashing in big time. Every coin has a story, and the 1976 penny? That story could end in 7 figures. So what should you look for if you want to find one of these $1 million beauties? First, check the date, 1976 with the D mint mark just below it. Then take a closer look at the word Liberty and the date numbers. If they look a little blurry or doubled, don't squint, celebrate. That could be the double die we're talking about. If the coin is in great shape with no major scratches or dings, you're on the right track. And if it looks too good to be true, send it in to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They're the folks who put the official stamp on coin values. And just check your spare change. Ask your family. Check that old coin jar in the garage. Raid Grandpa's cigar box. You never know where these hidden treasures might be hiding. Now let's be real. Not every 1976 penny is going to make you rich. But the hunt? The possibility? That's what makes it fun. It's the thrill of knowing that something so small could be worth so much. And hey, Even if you don't find the $1 million penny, you'll learn something cool, and maybe even make a few bucks along the way. So here's the deal. If you love coins, history, and maybe turning pocket change into dream vacations, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. I've got more tips, more rare coin stories, and more strategies to help you turn everyday coins into cold, hard cash. Don't let another valuable coin slip through your fingers. Stay sharp, stay curious, and happy hunting. And remember, next time you see a penny, don't just walk past it. Pick it up. It might just change your life. Hey there, coin hunters and couch collectors. You ever hear someone say a penny for your thoughts? Well, I hope your thoughts are expensive, because today we're talking about a penny that's worth more than most people's houses. That's right, a 2006 Lincoln penny that sold for a mind-blowing $1.4 million. Yep. You heard that right. A penny. 1 cent worth over $1 million. And no, I haven't been sniffing glue or hanging out with the Monopoly man. Now, before you flip over your couch cushions and dig through every cup holder in your car, stick with me. I'm going to walk you through exactly what makes this little copper beauty so special, what to look for, how it got so dang valuable, and I'll even share a little story about a time I almost spent a rare penny on a gas station hot dog. True story. You don't want to miss that. So grab your magnifying glass, maybe a snack, and get ready to dive deep into a coin that might just be hiding in plain sight. We're talking Denver Mint here. That's what the D stands for. Looks pretty normal to the naked eye. You've probably seen dozens just like it. Good old Abe Lincoln, looking sharp in profile, the memorial on the back, nothing fancy, right? But there's something very fancy going on with this one. It's a rare minting error combined with incredibly high-grade preservation. The actual penny in question that brought in the big bucks had a perfect strike, near flawless surfaces, and an incredibly rare misalignment in the die that created a doubled image on Abe's face. It's like Lincoln had a ghost twin. Some folks call these doubled dies, and collectors go nuts for them. It's like finding a Picasso where the eyes are in the right place and the ears are behind the knees. Weird, rare, and valuable. The condition of this coin was off the charts. We're talking mint state 69 red. That's nearly perfect. For context, most pennies come out of your pocket looking like they've been used to scrape gum off sidewalks. This one looked like it had never been touched by human hands. It's the kind of coin you'd expect to see in a museum with lasers around it, not in someone's change jar. Crazy rare. Like, go buy a lottery ticket if you find one, kind of rare. The odds of finding a 2006 D penny in this condition with that kind of error are almost microscopic. But you know what? It's not impossible. That's what keeps coin collectors awake at night. That dream that one day you'll crack open an old jar of change and bam, you're holding $1 million mistake. A few years ago, I stopped at a gas station on a road trip, somewhere in the middle of nowhere. I was half asleep, running on caffeine and beef jerky, and I needed a snack. I grabbed a hot dog and went to pay with some change I had in the glove box. Handed the guy a few coins, got my hot dog, walked out. Later that day, I was scrolling through a coin forum. Yeah, I'm that guy, and I saw a post about a 2006 D double die Lincoln penny. The picture looked exactly like one I'd handed the gas station guy that morning. I nearly swerved off the highway. I can't say for sure it was the same penny, but let me tell you, I now triple-check every coin before I spend it. And I haven't bought a gas station hot dog since. That's the kind of mistake that haunts you, my friend. The penny that sold at auction went for $1.4 million. That's enough to buy a decent house in the suburbs, a fancy sports car, or like 700,000 hot dogs, depending on your priorities. The market for error coins is hot right now. Collectors are always on the hunt for these little mistakes that slip through the cracks. The 2006 D Lincoln penny is just one of many coins out there that look ordinary but are secretly worth a fortune. So if you've got a jar of change somewhere, and I know you do, it's time to start looking through it. Grab a magnifier, pull out your brightest lamp, and go to town. Look for doubling on Lincoln's face, extra thickness in the lettering, weird shadows, or anything that looks slightly off. And don't toss out coins that look too clean, those high-grade coins are the unicorns of the collecting world. By the way, a quick tip, if you think you found something special, don't clean it. I repeat, do not clean the coin. You might think you're helping, but in the world of coin collecting, cleaning a rare coin is like putting ketchup on a steak. It just ruins it. Leave it as is and get it graded professionally. So there you have it, folks. A 2006 penny that turned into a millionaire's ticket. It's not just spare change anymore, it's a treasure hunt, and the treasure might be sitting in your junk drawer right now. Keep your eyes peeled for those errors, look out for that mint mark, and remember that sometimes, it's the tiniest things that hold the biggest value. And hey, if I saved you from spending your retirement fund on a gas station hot dog, I think we've both done some good here today. If you enjoyed this little coin adventure and you want more tips on spotting valuable coins, collecting strategies, and stories from the world of numismatics, hit that subscribe button like you're striking gold. Drop a comment if you've ever found a rare coin or made a coin collecting mistake you still think about in the shower. Thanks for watching, keep hunting, and may your pocket change always be worth more than you expect. Alright fellas, I gotta ask you something straight off the bat. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? Not just tossed it in a jar or used it to scratch off a lotto ticket, I mean really looked at it. Because if you've been ignoring your spare change, you might have walked right past a tiny copper treasure worth a jaw-dropping $1.5 million. Yeah, you heard me right. $1.5 million. For a penny. Not gold. Not silver. Just your average, brownish-red little Lincoln. Well, not so average, actually. Now before you go flipping over your couch cushions or shaking the vending machine down at work, let me tell you the whole story about the 2007 Lincoln penny that's been making collectors and even casual coin hunters lose their minds. Stick with me because I'm gonna break down exactly what makes this coin so valuable, how you can spot one, and why you just might have a piece of coin history sitting in a dusty piggy bank somewhere. And I'll even throw in a personal story about how I almost threw away a small fortune. You do not want to miss this one. Let's kick things off with the basics. The 2007 Lincoln penny was struck at the Denver Mint, hence the little d under the year. Now, millions of these were made. We're not talking about some rare one-of-5 kind of deal here. Which makes it even crazier that one of these everyday coins somehow became a millionaire. Well, this particular coin isn't just valuable because of its date or mint mark. It's what's called an error coin, and collectors go bananas over these things. Picture this, you've got a machine cranking out pennies at lightning speed, and one tiny misstep, a planchet issue, a double die, a strike through, can turn a normal coin into a collectible worth more than your car. In the case of this 2007 Lincoln penny, it had a combo of errors that made it a one-of-a-kind showstopper. The strike was off-center, the die was misaligned, and the coin ended up with doubling on Lincoln's face and the date. Add to that a flawless copper luster and basically no wear and tear, and boom, you've got yourself $1.5 million mistake. But coin collectors are just like treasure hunters. They'll pay crazy money for a coin that looks just a little off if it means it's rare. Rarity drives value, my friends. And this penny? Rarer than a steak at a vegan cookout. Now let me tell you a little personal story that still haunts me when I lie awake at night. So, a few years back, I was helping my buddy move. We're in his garage, sorting through old boxes, and we stumble on this old tin labeled Vegas change. Naturally, my eyes light up like a slot machine. I dump it out, and there's this mountain of coins. I start poking through it because, well, I'm a coin guy, it's what I do, and I swear to you, I picked up a 2007 penny that looked odd. The color was different, and the date looked a little funky. But I was in a rush, sweating, moving furniture, so I tossed it in a cup holder and forgot about it. 2 weeks later, I hear about the 2007 penny selling for over $1 million. I sprint to my car like it's the Indy 500. Guess what? My kid had cleaned the car. Threw all the coins in one of those Coinstar machines at the grocery store. Yep. I might have had a $1.5 million penny and let it vanish into a sea of laundry money and snack purchases. That one still stings. Look for off-center strikes. Even a small misalignment can raise the value. Check for doubling on Lincoln's face, the lettering, or the date. Use a magnifying glass or that zoom feature on your phone. See if the coin looks unusually shiny or has a weird finish. A strong copper color with no scratches is gold, or in this case, expensive copper, and hey, don't just stop at one. If you've got a jar full of coins, dump them out, spread them on the table, and start hunting. This is one treasure hunt where the map is in your own house. Don't go cleaning the coin with vinegar or scrubbing it with a toothbrush. That's like putting ketchup on a filet mignon. Just don't. Leave it as is and get it checked by a professional coin dealer or send it off for grading. And if your wife asks what you're doing hunched over a pile of pennies with a flashlight, just tell her you're investing in the future. Technically, it's not a lie, so there you have it, folks. The 2007 D. Lincoln penny that turned loose change into serious cash. It's a reminder that sometimes the most valuable things in life are hiding in plain sight, in your pocket, your couch cushions, or that old jar labeled pizza fund. Don't let $1 million coin slip through your fingers like I did. Check those coins, look for errors, and you just might strike it rich without ever setting foot in a casino. If you had fun watching this and you want to learn more about coins that are secretly worth a small fortune, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. I've got plenty more tips, stories, and strategies that'll help you turn that coffee can full of change into a coin collector's dream. And hey, leave a comment if you've ever found something valuable in your spare change, or if you've got a heartbreaking story like mine. Misery loves company, right? Alright guys, till next time, keep checking that change, and don't forget, one little penny could change your whole life. Literally. Hey, coin hunters and pocket change warriors. What if I told you there might be a coin sitting in your junk drawer right now that could be worth a life-changing $1.6 million? Yeah, I'm not kidding. That same copper-colored penny you flipped into a wishing fountain last summer might just be worth more than your entire house. Today we're diving into the wild world of the 1995 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And let me tell you, this little fella is no ordinary coin. It's not flashy, it doesn't scream wealth, and it definitely won't make you look rich at first glance. But boy oh boy, if you've got the right one, you might just retire early and spend your days sipping iced tea on a beach somewhere. Now before you go flipping over your couch cushions or raiding grandma's coin jar, stick with me because I'm going to break down exactly what makes this coin so valuable, how you can spot one, and why collectors are willing to dish out a cool $1.6 million to get their hands on it. And to kick things off, let me share a little personal story. A few years back, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. We were knee-deep in old fishing gear, rusty tools, and some seriously questionable lawn ornaments when I spotted a dusty coffee can full of coins. Naturally, I went full treasure hunter mode. I started sifting through it, mostly just hoping to find a wheat penny or maybe something with silver in it. Well, what I didn't expect was to come across a 1995 penny that looked off. It had a weird double effect on the letters, and I got a gut feeling. Long story short, it turned out to be a double die error. Not the $1 million version, but still worth a few $100. I was hooked. Ever since then, I've been obsessed with coin hunting, and let me tell you, it's way more fun than you'd think. So grab a drink, get comfy, and let's unravel the mystery of the 1995 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that's rocking the coin collecting world. Alright, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. First up, what exactly is the 1995 no-mint mark penny and why is it so special? Most pennies minted in 1995 were made in Philadelphia, which means they don't have a mint mark. That's actually pretty normal. But what's not normal is the error that showed up in a small batch of these coins. I'm talking about the infamous double die error. Imagine the coin die, basically the stamp used to press the image into the metal, shifting just a little bit during the creation process. That shift causes the design to be imprinted twice, creating a doubled look, especially on the date and the lettering. In the case of the 1995 penny, the most obvious place you'll see this is in the word liberty and the phrase "In God we trust." Now here's where it gets wild. Not all 1995 pennies have this doubling. It was only on a limited number of coins. And most of the time, people didn't even notice. They'd use the coin to buy gum, drop it in a tip jar, or let it rattle around in their car console for years. They live for this stuff. A clean, uncirculated 1995 double-die penny in pristine condition is like striking gold. And if it's been graded by a reputable company and scored high, like MS 68 or higher, we're talking big bucks. One particular specimen fetched $1.6 million. That's right. One little penny. Someone actually forked over more than most people spend on a house just to own this coin. Why? Rarity, demand, condition, and that sweet error that makes it one of a kind. Grab a magnifying glass. No, not the kind from a cereal box. A decent one. You're looking for clear doubling in the letters, especially Liberty. The doubling should look like the letters are shadowed or echoed, but not blurry. Step 2, check the condition. If it's been through a washing machine, run over by a bike, or used as a screwdriver, it probably won't hit that $1 million mark. But even beat-up versions can still bring in a few $100s. Step 3, get it graded. Don't just throw it on eBay and hope for the best. If you think you've got something, send it to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll examine it, grade it, and give it a certification that serious buyers will trust. Alright, let's take a quick break from the facts and have a little laugh. Remember that time I thought I found a rare 1995 penny and ran around the house shouting like I just won the lottery? I was jumping on the couch, calling my buddies, already planning a trip to Vegas. Then I looked closer, and it was a Canadian penny. Yeah. Wrong country. Wrong year. Wrong everything. My wife still won't let me live that one down. She bought me a magnifying glass that Christmas with a note that said, "For your $1 million dreams." Beyond the rare double die, there are other things collectors look for: misstrikes, off-center coins, die cracks, and repunched mint marks. But for the 1995 no mint mark penny, it's all about that doubling. You might be wondering, do I need to be some kind of expert to find one? Not at all. That's the beauty of it. Coins like this can slip through the cracks and end up in everyday circulation. You don't need a PhD in numismatics. You just need a good eye, a little patience, and the willingness to dig through your change, and hey, you never know. I've heard stories of people finding valuable coins at flea markets, estate sales, or even stuck between couch cushions. One guy said he found his rare penny in a parking lot. That's like the coin hunting version of winning the lottery without buying a ticket. That the humble 1995 no mint mark Lincoln penny might be hiding a massive secret. If it's got that sweet double die error and it's in top-notch condition, it could be worth up to $1.6 million. That's not just pocket change, that's life-changing money. You don't have to be a millionaire to start coin collecting, but if you find the right coin, you just might become one. All it takes is a little curiosity and a sharp eye. Go grab that old coin jar, check your piggy bank, or raid the back seat of your car. Take a good look at any 1995 pennies you've got lying around. Who knows, you might just hit the coin jackpot. And hey, if you had fun today or learned something new, don't forget to smash that subscribe button like it owes you money. Hit the like, drop a comment if you've ever found a weird-looking coin, and share this video with someone who's always broke. You might just change their life. Hey there, coin lovers. Now, let me hit you with a fun fact. What if I told you that the change sitting in your pocket right now could be worth a small fortune? No, I'm not talking about a random lottery ticket you picked up from the gas station or that odd dollar bill with a mysterious serial number. I'm talking about something as simple as a 1968 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Sounds crazy, right? But stick with me, because this humble little coin could be worth up to $1.7 million. Yes, you heard me right, $1.7 million. I know, it's hard to believe, but by the end of this video, I'll show you how to spot it, why it's valuable, and how you could make some serious cash if you've got one of these rare pennies hiding in your collection. And hey, if you want more tips like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You never know when your next big find might be just around the corner. Alright, let's take a trip back in time to 1968. The world was buzzing with change. People were protesting, disco was just around the corner, and here in the United States, something strange was happening with our coins. You see, in 1968, the US Mint made a decision that would come to affect the value of certain pennies for decades to come. Now, you might be asking, what makes this penny so special? It all comes down to one thing, the no mint mark. See, most coins from this era had a mint mark, either an D for Denver or a S for San Francisco. But the 1968 pennies that don't have a mint mark? Those are the ones you should be keeping an eye on. These pennies were struck in Philadelphia, and because the mint marks were usually stamped on the reverse side, some of them slipped through the cracks with no mint mark at all. Well, it's a combination of rarity and collector demand. You see, the 1968 no mint mark penny wasn't produced in massive quantities, so the ones that did make it into circulation today are far and few between. As time went on, collectors started to realize just how rare these coins were, and that's when their value started to skyrocket. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, okay, that's cool, but how do I even spot one of these bad boys? Let me tell you, it's actually pretty simple. When you're going through your change or scanning through your coin collection, the first thing to check is the date. If it's 1968, you're already halfway there. Now, flip the coin over. If you don't see a mint mark on the reverse side under the words E pluribus unum, then congratulations, you might have a 1968 no mint mark penny. But wait, there's more to it. You want to make sure the coin is in good condition, too. The better the condition, the higher the value. Coins in near mint or mint condition can fetch upwards of $1.7 million, while ones in less than perfect shape are still worth quite a bit, just not the jackpot, and that's where things get interesting. See, I have a little personal story that connects to this. A few years ago, I was visiting my uncle, great guy, but he's one of those people who just throws his change into a jar at the end of the day. You know the type, right? The, I'll sort this out later, kinda guy. Well, I was rummaging through his coin jar, just out of curiosity, when I spotted a 1968 penny sitting right at the top. I didn't think much of it at first, but then something clicked. I remembered reading about those no mint mark pennies and thought, what if this is one of them? So, I grabbed my magnifying glass, because let's be honest, we all look a little ridiculous squinting at coins, don't we, and checked the back of the coin. Nothing. No mint mark. My heart skipped a beat. Was this the one? I had to take it to a coin expert for confirmation, and to my shock, yep, it was a 1968 no mint mark penny. Now, I wasn't going to get $1.7 million for it, mine was a bit worn, but it was still a valuable find. That little penny turned out to be worth a few $1,000s, and it was a nice reminder that sometimes, treasure isn't as far away as you think, it's just sitting in your pocket, waiting to be discovered. Now, not everyone has that kind of luck. But that's why I'm here talking to you today, to make sure you know what to look for and how to spot these rare finds. Because even if you don't have a $1.7 million penny lying around, you never know what could turn up in your spare change. And speaking of spare change, if you've ever thought about getting serious about coin collecting, now is the perfect time. Start checking your coins regularly, get a good magnifying glass, and get familiar with the markings. You never know, your next trip to the coin jar could be your big break. Alright, coin collectors, we've covered a lot today. The 1968 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a true gem in the world of rare coins, and while it might seem like a long shot, remember that these things happen. It's all about keeping your eyes peeled and knowing what to look for. And hey, if you do find one, or even if you just stumble across a few other rare coins, don't forget to keep them safe and take them to a professional for an appraisal. It could be worth way more than you think, but that's all for today. If you want more tips, tricks, and strategies for finding valuable coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on all the coin-related goodness coming your way. Have you ever thought a penny might actually be worth a fortune? I know, it sounds like a crazy thought, after all, they're just pennies, right? Well, not all pennies are created equal. Some are worth thousands, and believe it or not, one specific 1984 D. Abraham Lincoln penny can be worth a whopping $1.8 million. Yes, you heard that right. It's not some rare golden penny from a lost civilization or a mistake that should have never been minted. It's just a regular penny that's older than you might think, but if you have the right one, you could be sitting on a small fortune. So, if you're like me and you've got a jar of change sitting around collecting dust, you might want to listen up. Before we dive in, let me share a little story. You ever been the guy who thinks he's got something valuable, only to find out it's just a bunch of, well, not so valuable stuff? I remember when I first got into coin collecting. I was so excited about my stash of pennies, thinking I had the next big thing. Then I Googled them. Turns out, I had a bunch of 1982s that were just, well, pennies. Let's just say I had to laugh at myself. But don't worry, there's a twist to this story. Stick around, because this 1984 D penny might just be your ticket to the kind of treasure you thought was reserved for pirates and treasure hunters. Alright, let's get into it. The 1984 D penny might seem like one of those coins you just flip into a jar without thinking twice. But if you've got one in your collection, you could be holding a gem that could make you a small fortune. First things first, what is the 1984 D Abraham Lincoln penny? It's one of the many pennies minted in the United States, but the D stands for Denver, where it was produced. Every year, the U.S. Mint churns out billions of pennies, but only a tiny fraction of them turn out to be valuable. The 1984 D, in particular, is known for a unique set of characteristics that make it so sought after by collectors. So, what makes this penny so valuable? Well, like many rare coins, it comes down to something called minting errors. Sometimes, the mint accidentally produces a coin with defects that make it stand out. In the case of the 1984 D penny, there are certain varieties that have unique characteristics that can increase the value exponentially. Now, you might be wondering, how can a mistake like that be worth $1.8 million? Well, this is where things get interesting. The primary reason the 1984 D penny is so valuable is because of a rare error known as a misaligned die. This happens when the metal dies used to stamp the design on the coin are not properly aligned. The result is a penny that looks like it's been stamped at a funny angle, giving it a slightly off-center look. It's like having a Picasso version of a penny, unique and highly collectible. These misaligned die pennies are extremely rare, and if you find one in good condition, you could have something worth up to $1.8 million. Not too shabby for a coin that only cost you 1 cent back in 1984. How do I know if I've got one of these $1 million misaligned die pennies? Good question. And here's the thing, you don't need a magnifying glass or a microscope to tell. If the coin looks like it was stamped a little off-center, there's a good chance it could be one of these rare varieties. A misaligned die will show noticeable signs of the error, like an uneven border or a shift in the design. Of course, it's not just the misalignment that matters. The coin's condition plays a huge role in its value. If your penny is in mint condition, meaning it has very little wear or damage, then you're sitting pretty. The more wear a coin has, the less it's worth. So, make sure to check for any significant scratches or other signs of damage. Let's talk about how likely it is that you'll actually find one of these pennies in your spare change. Well, to be honest, it's rare. But don't give up hope. Sometimes, these coins are hiding in plain sight. I've found some decent coins in my change, and who knows, one of these days, I might stumble upon a 1984 D penny that's worth a fortune. And you might too. The next time you're getting your change back, take a second to glance over the pennies you're handed. It's that easy. You don't need to carry around an expert's knowledge of coin collecting, just take a look at the year, check for misalignment, and if it looks off, hold on to it. I remember the first time I thought I had found something valuable in my pocket change. It wasn't a 1984 D penny, but it was a 1955 penny, which has a pretty famous error, the double die variety. I got super excited and immediately showed it to everyone. I mean, who wouldn't be hyped about finding a potentially rare coin? I was ready to retire early with that thing. But, alas, after closer inspection, I realized it was just a normal 1955 penny. But that experience stuck with me, and it fueled my passion for coin hunting. So, if you find a 1984 D penny that looks a little off, don't just toss it into the jar without a second thought. You could be holding a gem.so. Here's the deal. The 1984 D Abraham Lincoln penny is worth a lot more than just its face value. If you find one with a misaligned die, you could be sitting on a small fortune. While these pennies are rare, they're definitely out there, and you might just be lucky enough to find one. If you're serious about collecting coins or just love the thrill of the hunt, make sure to keep an eye out for these misaligned die pennies. It's all about being vigilant and checking your change. And hey, even if you don't find a $1.8 million penny, at least you'll know what to look for next time. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a tip on coins worth money. We've got tons more strategies to help you turn pocket change into cold, hard cash. So, what are you waiting for? Start hunting for those rare pennies today. You never know when the next one will turn up. Alright, let me hit you with a question that might just blow your socks off. What if I told you there's a 1979 Lincoln penny out there with no mint mark that's worth a jaw-dropping $1.4 million? Yep. A single cent that could pay off your mortgage, buy you a sports car, and still leave enough for you to take your grandkids to Disney World for a whole month. Sounds crazy, right? Well, buckle in, my friend, because today we're diving into the wild, wonderful world of coins, and we're talking about one that could change your life if it's sitting in your change jar right now. Now, before you go flipping your couch cushions or raiding that coffee can on top of the fridge, stick around. I'm gonna break down exactly what makes this little copper treasure so valuable, how you can tell if you've got one, and yes, I've got a personal story that'll have you laughing and maybe crying just a little. So let's get into it. First, let's clear something up. A no mint mark penny means it was minted in Philadelphia. Back in '79, Philly didn't bother stamping a little letter on the coins, so no mint mark was just business as usual. But here's the twist. Not every no mint mark penny is valuable. In fact, most of them worth exactly 1 cent. Maybe 2 if you're lucky and someone's feeling generous. So what makes this particular one so insanely valuable? This one has what collectors call a super rare error. We're talking about a very specific die variety, possibly a misstrike or double die, depending on the specific coin. The details get a little nerdy, but just know this. Only a couple of these rare versions have ever been confirmed. That's why collectors are willing to throw around 7 figures to snag one. It's like winning the coin lottery, but the ticket costs just 1 cent. Now let me tell ya, coin collectors get excited about stuff most people wouldn't even notice. Slight doubling on a letter? Woohoo! An off-center strike? Jackpot! A penny with Abraham Lincoln sneezing? Okay, that one doesn't exist, but I'd definitely pay to see it. Point is, the tiniest things can turn a regular old penny into a gold mine. Strong, sharp details, especially around Lincoln's hair, coat, and the lettering, and finally, get it checked by a professional. Seriously. If it looks weird or feels off in a good way, don't take it to your local gas station. Get a certified grading service to give it the once-over. Alright, let me hit you with a personal story here. A few years back, I was helping my aunt clean out her garage. You know, one of those, I'll be there for an hour deals that turned into an all-day adventure in cobwebs and questionable Tupperware. Anyway, we found this old tin of coins. She was about to chuck the whole thing in a donation box, but I said, hold up, let's at least see if there's anything interesting. I spent the next 4 hours squinting through a magnifying glass, covered in dust, while my aunt laughed at me from the porch. Didn't find a $1 million penny that day, but I did find a 1943 steel cent worth about $40. And more importantly, I got the collecting bug. That one little win had me hooked, and now here I am, making videos about pennies worth more than Lamborghinis. Life's weird like that. You're probably wondering, who's shelling out $1.4 million for a penny? It's all about rarity, condition, and demand. When something is nearly impossible to find, and people really want it, the price skyrockets. This specific 1979 no-mint mark penny has everything collectors dream of. Top-tier condition, extreme rarity, and a bit of mystery. It's been verified, authenticated, and has sold in private auctions for over $1 million. Not bad for something you might find in your change tray. Even if you're not a collector, here's why this matters. You probably have hundreds of pennies lying around right now. In jars, in drawers, under the car seat. One of those could be your golden ticket. And checking for rare coins isn't just a fun hobby, it could actually pay off big time. Plus, there's something satisfying about finding hidden treasure that's been in your hands all along. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You're now officially part of the coin hunting club. Whether you're just curious or already knee-deep in your couch cushions, here's the bottom line: the 1979 no-mint mark Lincoln penny could be worth $1.4 million. It's rare, it's real, and it could be sitting in your house right now. Grab a magnifying glass, start checking your change, and who knows, you might be the next lucky person to cash in on a coin worth more than a mansion. And hey, if you find one, don't forget who told you about it. Now before you go off hunting for copper gold, do me a solid, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more tips, stories, and money-making coin strategies coming your way. Whether you're a beginner or a full-blown coin nerd like me, there's always something new to discover. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Go check those pennies, and I'll see you in the next video. So, I've got a real gem for you today, literally. I'm talking about a coin that's probably sitting in your pocket right now, or maybe buried deep down in a drawer somewhere, collecting dust. And guess what? It could be worth a whopping $1.5 million. Yes, you heard me right. This isn't some ancient artifact or a rare gold coin, it's a 1968 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Sounds too good to be true, right? But stick with me, because I'm about to blow your mind and show you how this seemingly ordinary penny can be the golden ticket you never knew you had. But before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, so you don't miss out on more tips about coins worth money. Trust me, this is the kind of stuff you'll want to know about when you're sifting through old change at the bottom of your car seats. Now, let's talk about the 1968 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. At first glance, it probably looks just like any other penny, nothing special, right? After all, the Lincoln penny has been around for decades, and millions were minted in 1968. So how does a coin like this suddenly get a price tag of $1.5 million? Well, here's the deal. In 1968, the US Mint made a major shift. For the first time, they stopped putting mint marks on most of the coins. What does that mean? Well, normally, pennies, dimes, quarters, and other coins have a little D for Denver or an S for San Francisco, indicating where they were made. But in 1968, for reasons no one really fully understood at the time, they skipped putting the mint mark on the penny. Most people thought it was just a regular mistake, but it turns out, that error made these particular pennies incredibly rare. You see, out of the billions of pennies made that year, only a handful of them were minted without any mark. And that tiny mistake, my friends, is what makes these 1968 no-mint mark pennies so valuable today. The scarcity is what gives it the price tag, and as collectors chase after these rare coins, the value just keeps climbing. Okay, but how do I know if I have one of these precious pennies in my collection? That's a good question. The key thing to look for is the absence of the mint mark. If you pull out a 1968 penny and you don't see a little D or S under the date, then congratulations, my friend, you've got a potential goldmine on your hands. But there's more to it than just finding a penny without a mint mark. The coin's condition plays a huge role in determining its value. If your 1968 penny is in pristine, uncirculated condition, meaning it looks as shiny and new as the day it was minted, you're looking at an even higher price. Coins that are in mint condition can fetch significantly more than those that are worn or damaged. Here's a fun story for you. A while back, I was going through some old change at a yard sale. Probably not the first place you'd think to find a $1.5 million coin, right? But, trust me, it's happened before. Anyway, there I was, sorting through a pile of pennies when I found a 1968 penny that looked pretty clean. I was about to toss it into the nothing special pile, but something made me stop. I looked at it again and noticed no mint mark. So, I did what any good coin hunter would do, I did a little research. Turns out, I had found a 1968 no mint mark penny. Now, don't get too excited, I didn't find a $1.5 million coin that day, but I did find a few pennies worth way more than I thought. That day taught me the importance of being thorough and checking every coin, no matter how insignificant it may seem. You never know when you'll find a treasure, but back to the 1968 penny. The thing is, these coins are still floating around out there. If you've got one in your change jar or coin collection, take a closer look. There are no guarantees, of course, but if it's in great shape, it could be worth far more than a penny. In fact, there have been reports of these coins selling at auction for upwards of $1.5 million. Yes, millions, and not in some crazy fantasy world, but right here in our coin collecting community. So, you might be asking, why hasn't everyone discovered this by now? Well, the simple truth is, not many people are paying attention to these small details. Coin collecting, especially rare coins like this, is still a bit of a niche hobby. But as more collectors get savvy, these pennies are becoming harder and harder to find. So, if you've got one in your collection, now might be a great time to get it appraised. Even if your 1968 no mint mark penny isn't in perfect shape, it could still hold value. A worn or circulated example of the coin might not be worth $1.5 million, but it can still fetch a nice price, especially if it's been well preserved over the years. Your 1968 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny could very well be sitting on a small fortune. I'm not saying you're guaranteed to get rich, but when it comes to coin collecting, you just never know. The next time you're going through your spare change, keep your eyes peeled for this little nugget. It could be your ticket to a nice payday. Before you go, here's the deal: if you're enjoying these tips on how to find coins worth serious money, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You'll get the latest updates, insider tips, and more personal stories about rare coins, strategies, and how you can turn your coin collection into a money-making machine. Plus, you'll join a community of collectors who are just as passionate as you are. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep hunting for those treasures. You might be holding on to the next big thing without even knowing it. Alright fellas, hold on to your hats and check your pockets, because today we're diving into one little coin that could make you a millionaire. That's right, one single penny. The kind you might find stuck between your car seats or in a coffee can in your garage. We're talking about the 1969 Lincoln penny. And no, I'm not messing with you, one of these babies recently sold for a jaw-dropping $1.60 million. Yeah, a penny. The coin we toss aside, ignore, or use to scratch lottery tickets. Imagine cashing in on a single red copper cent for enough money to buy a dream house, a few classic cars, and still have room for a vacation home in the mountains. Sounds like a fairy tale, right? Well, this one is very real. So grab a cold drink, sit back, and let me take you through the wild world of the 1969 Lincoln penny. We'll talk value, history, how to spot a valuable one, and I'll even share a little story about the time I almost threw away a small fortune. Yeah, it still haunts me. Let's rewind the clock back to 1969. Nixon was president, Woodstock was in full swing, and the Lincoln penny was just doing its thing, being minted by the millions. Specifically, over 4.1 billion pennies were minted that year. That's billion with a B. So what in the world makes one 1969 penny worth more than most folks' entire retirement accounts? And I mean tiny, easy-to-miss details. The most valuable 1969 pennies are rare error coins. They feature something called a double die obverse. Sounds fancy, huh? It just means the design on the front of the coin, Lincoln's face and the wording, looks like it was stamped twice but slightly off. It gives the letters and numbers a kind of shadowy, doubled look. Now, here's the kicker. The 1969 double die error is famous, but most of those were from the Philadelphia Mint, which didn't have a mint mark. That's the no mint mark 1969 penny that gets a lot of hype. But when you find a double die on a 1969 penny with a D mint mark, which stands for Denver, that's when you've struck gold. Or well, copper. But $1 million copper, the 1969 D double die Lincoln penny, is extremely rare. In fact, only a handful have ever been confirmed. That's what makes it so valuable. In a coin market flooded with common coins, rarity is king. Combine that with demand, historical value, and a little mystery, and suddenly you've got a penny worth $1.6 million. Let's talk about condition for a second. Coin collectors, or numismatists if you want to sound fancy at dinner parties, care a lot about a coin's grade. A top-grade 1969 D double die penny, one in pristine condition with little to no wear, can fetch serious dough. That's what happened with the one that sold for $1.6 million. It was in incredible shape. If yours has seen better days, say, it went through the laundry a few times, it might still be worth something, just maybe not quite mansion money. Now, let me tell you a quick story that'll either make you laugh or cry. A few years back, I was helping my uncle clean out his basement. He had jars and jars of old coins. We're talking rusted Folgers cans packed full. At one point, I picked up a shiny 1969 penny and said, jokingly, maybe this one's worth $1 million. He laughed, I laughed, and we tossed it back in the jar. Fast forward to last year. I'm doing research on valuable coins, like the same stuff I'm sharing with you right now, and boom, there it was. A 1969 D penny with a double die obverse. Worth over $1 million. I nearly dropped my laptop. I called my uncle immediately and said, hey, remember that penny from your basement? He said, I think I used it to scrape bird poop off the deck railing. So yeah. Learn from our mistake. Don't underestimate the pennies. They might just be the most expensive coins you ever ignored. Now if you're wondering how to spot one of these rare beauties, here's what to look for. First, it needs that little D under the year, meaning it came from the Denver Mint. Second, look closely at the lettering, especially Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date. If the letters and numbers look like they're doubled, you might just have something special. Use a magnifying glass or one of those little jeweler's loupes. Trust me, they're worth the $10. Or take a close-up photo and zoom in. If it looks odd, don't spend it. Don't toss it in a jar. Put it in a protective sleeve and take it to a coin shop for a professional look. Now let's talk market value. Right now, collectors are hungry for these rare coins. The last known sale of a verified 1969 D double die penny was for about $1.6 million. That was through a high-profile auction house. And because so few of these coins are confirmed, demand is through the roof. If one more pops up, it could very well break that record. What's wild is that you could walk into a gas station today, buy a candy bar, and get change back that includes one of these coins. It's still possible. That's what makes coin hunting so exciting. It's like treasure hunting, but without needing a metal detector or pirate ship. So, here's the deal. The next time you're about to drop your spare change in a tip jar, maybe give those pennies a second look. That dirty little copper coin might be your ticket to $1 million payday. It's happened before, and it can absolutely happen again. If you've got coin jars at home, start digging. If you're a garage sale junkie, keep your eyes peeled. And if you're just curious about what else could be hiding in plain sight in your pocket, well, you're in the right place. Now if you enjoyed this story and you want more tips on how to spot valuable coins, how to build your own collection, and how to turn spare change into serious money, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Tap the bell so you never miss a new video. I've got more coin secrets, collector strategies, and crazy true stories coming your way every single week. And hey, if you find a 1969 D penny with that double die, maybe save me a coffee or something. Just saying. When was the last time you checked your couch cushions? No, really. Because that loose change you're ignoring could be hiding something wild. I'm talking about a penny, yes, a humble little copper-colored Abraham Lincoln penny from 1982, that's worth a jaw-dropping $1.7 million. That's right. $1.7 million for a coin that probably bought a piece of bubble gum back in the day, and no, I didn't make that up after watching too many late-night treasure hunting shows. This coin is real. It exists. And if you've got one sitting in your junk drawer, you might just be sitting on your retirement plan. In this video, we're diving deep into the story behind the legendary 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. We'll break down what makes it so rare, how to spot one, why collectors are going bonkers over it, and I'll even tell you a personal story about how I almost threw away a coin that could have paid for a yacht. Yeah, that one stung. So buckle up, grab your coin jar, and get ready for a ride that might just end in you becoming a millionaire. From a penny. Let's kick it off with a little background. The year was 1982. The mullets were majestic, Michael Jackson was moonwalking, and the US Mint was in the middle of a coin crisis. You see, the cost of making pennies was going up, and Uncle Sam wasn't thrilled about spending more to make money than the money was actually worth. Go figure. So the Mint made a decision that would go on to create one of the most sought-after errors in coin history. They switched the composition of pennies from 95% copper to a cheaper zinc core with a thin copper coating. But, and here's where it gets interesting, they didn't do it overnight. They made both copper and zinc pennies that year. And to make things even more fun, some coins didn't even get mint mark stamped on them. Now, usually, if a coin is made in Philadelphia, it doesn't get a mint mark. That's just how it goes. But something weird happened. A small batch of copper pennies with no mint mark slipped through the cracks during the transition. These are not your everyday, run-of-the-mill pocket change coins. These are the $1.7 million golden ticket kind of coins. Now, weigh your 1982 penny. If it weighs about 3.11 grams, congratulations, you've got a copper penny. If it's 2.5 grams, it's the zinc one. Still cool, but not yacht money cool. The one you're hoping for is a 1982 penny with no mint mark and a weight of 3.11 grams. That's the unicorn, but wait, there's more. You'll also want to take a look at the lettering. Some of these coins show signs of doubling. That's when the image or lettering on the coin looks slightly doubled due to a minting error. That can bump the value even more. Now, let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was helping my nephew with a school project on coins. We were going through this old coffee can of change my dad had tucked away in his garage since the 80s. Dusty, spiderwebs, smelled like regret. Anyway, I start pulling out the pennies, just casually checking the dates while he glued some nickels to a poster board. And boom! I spot a 1982 with no mint mark. Now, I didn't have a scale on me, so I did what any excited coin nerd would do. I licked my finger, flipped the coin a few times for dramatic effect, and yelled, "Jackpot." My nephew thought I'd lost it. I took it home, weighed it. 2.5 grams. Yep. Zinc. I still keep it though. It's my little reminder that treasure might literally be hiding in plain sight. Also, it keeps me humble. People have found the real deal. Collectors have paid up to $1.7 million for a verified 1982 no-mint mark copper penny in top condition. That's life-changing money for something most people won't even bend over to pick up anymore. And why are collectors going nuts for this coin? Rarity. It's the classic supply and demand equation. Very few were made, even fewer survived, and now that everyone knows about it, the hunt is on. Also, condition matters. A coin with scratches, gunk, or bite marks from a toddler won't fetch millions. But one in pristine shape? That's the ticket. Don't clean your coins. Ever. I know. You want it to look pretty. But collectors want the original patina. Scrubbing it with soap and a toothbrush can actually lower the value. Think of it like vintage jeans, the grungier, the better. Get it authenticated. Don't just list it on some online marketplace and hope for the best. Send it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll examine it, confirm what it is, and give it an official grade. That grade can make or break the price you'll get then. Get ready to talk to a lawyer and a financial advisor, because your life is about to change. So let's wrap this up. The 1982 no mint mark Lincoln penny is not just a coin. It's a legend. A tiny, copper-colored lottery ticket that might be hiding in your sock drawer right now. It's a reminder that sometimes, fortune doesn't knock, it jingles in your pocket. You don't have to be a professional collector or a coin nerd to get in on this. All you need is curiosity, a sharp eye, and maybe a kitchen scale, and hey, even if you don't find the $1.7 million penny, digging through your change is still fun. You might stumble across other valuable coins, or at the very least, enough spare change to buy yourself a taco. And tacos are never a bad consolation prize. If you enjoyed this, learned something new, or just had a good laugh at my almost $1 million miss, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I've got a ton more videos lined up on rare coins, hidden treasures, and strategies to turn your pocket change into serious cash. Alright folks, grab a cup of coffee, put your feet up, and let me hit you with a truth bomb that might just change the way you look at pocket change forever. What if I told you that a single 1988 Lincoln penny, yes, that coppery little coin most of us ignore, could be worth $1.8 million today? No, this ain't clickbait. This is real. 1.8 million bucks, from a coin most people toss into a jar or lose in the couch cushions. Now before you go diving headfirst into your coin jar like a maniac, let me tell you the full story. Because this isn't just about luck, it's about knowing what to look for, where to find it, and how to spot that hidden treasure that could be lurking right under your nose. So buckle up, my fellow penny hoarders, because we're about to take a ride through coin collecting gold, or in this case, copper. Let me start this off with a quick story. A few years ago, I was helping my buddy clean out his grandfather's attic. You know, one of those dusty spaces filled with old magazines, World War II memorabilia, and boxes of random stuff nobody's touched in decades. I was poking around while he was sorting vinyl records, and I found this little tin box. I open it up, and boom, a whole pile of old pennies. And I'm not talking a handful. I'm talking hundreds. Now most people would look at that and go, cool. Scrap metal. But not me. I'm the kind of guy who gets excited about wheatbacks and double dies. So I start sorting through them, just to see if there's anything interesting. And sure enough, I find a 1988 penny with no mint mark and something weird about the design. I didn't think much of it at the time, tossed it in my pocket, and moved on. Fast forward a few weeks later, I take it to a local coin guy. He takes one look at it and says, "You might want to sit down." Now, spoiler alert, mine wasn't the one, but it was close enough to make me a believer. Which, by the way, is why there's no mint mark. The Philly Mint didn't stamp a letter on their coins back then. But here's the kicker, some 1988 pennies came out with the reverse design that actually belonged to the 1989 Lincoln cent. Yup. It's what collectors call a transitional error. Basically, the mint goofed up and used the wrong die when striking some of the 1988 pennies. You see, in 1988, the design of the FG, the initials of designer Frank Gasparo, which sit just to the right of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, looked a certain way. But the 1989 version had a slightly different FG. So if your 1988 penny has the 1989 FG design, guess what? You've struck copper gold. Well, it all comes down to rarity and condition. These transitional error coins are insanely scarce. We're talking only a few known examples floating around in the world. Combine that with one in pristine condition, we're talking graded at mint state 67 or higher, and collectors will throw down serious cash. Not just serious cash. Life-changing cash. There's always some rich collector out there who just has to have that one missing piece. And when a coin like this shows up at auction, the bidding war gets real. Last known sale? A crisp 1988 no mint mark transitional error penny sold for a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. That's not a typo. One coin. 1.8 million. Try buying that at face value. So now you're probably thinking, Okay, how do I know if my 1988 penny is the jackpot one? Flip it over and check out the FG initials next to the Lincoln Memorial. If they look more like the 1989 version, with thinner, more delicate engraving, you might be sitting on a treasure. Condition matters. If it looks like it's been through a garbage disposal, well, don't expect $1 million payday. But if it looks shiny, minimal scratches, still got that minty freshness, get it checked by a professional grader, and let me just say, don't go cleaning your coins. Seriously. Every time someone takes a toothbrush or baking soda to a coin, a numismatist dies a little inside. Leave it as is. Even if it's grimy. Even if your penny isn't the $1.8 million coin, some 1988 pennies with rare die varieties or in top condition can still sell for a few hundred to a few $1,000s. That's still a heck of a return on a 1-cent investment. So whether you're a seasoned coin hunter or just someone who keeps dropping change in the bottom of your truck's cup holder, it pays, literally, to keep your eyes open. And here's a tip from someone who's learned the hard way: never underestimate grandma's coin jar. Next time you're visiting family, just say you're being helpful and offer to sort their spare change. You never know when the money for your dream vacation, or a new car, or heck, early retirement, might be hiding in plain sight. So there you have it. The unassuming 1988 Lincoln penny could be your ticket to millionaire status. All because of a tiny design error and a little bit of minty magic. You don't need a metal detector or a treasure map. You just need a sharp eye, a little knowledge, and maybe a flashlight to dig through the couch cushions. Now, if you enjoyed this dive into the world of high-stakes pocket change, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're just getting started. I've got plenty more coin stories, hidden gem tips, and strategies that'll make your coin jar feel like a treasure chest. So stick around, click that bell so you don't miss out, and drop a comment below if you've ever found something wild in your change. Who knows? Your story might be featured next. Alright folks, I need you to stop what you're doing and check your pockets, your piggy banks, that junk drawer in the kitchen, even that old coffee can full of loose change. Because believe it or not, there's a little brown penny out there from 1986 with no mint mark that could be worth a whopping $1.9 million. Yep, you heard me right. $1.9 million. For a penny. Now I know what you're thinking. A penny? From the 80s? That's like saying your old Trapper Keeper is worth more than your house. But hang tight, because I'm about to tell you why this unassuming coin could be your ticket to early retirement, a shiny new truck, or at least finally paying off that student loan that's been haunting you since 1997. Let's roll it back to 1986. Reagan was president, mullets were fashionable, and people were jamming out to cassette tapes. Pennies were flying off the presses by the billions. But here's where it gets weird. Most of those 1986 pennies have a little letter under the date. That's the mint mark, showing where it was made. A D for Denver, an S for San Francisco. But a few sneaky ones slipped through the cracks with no mint mark at all. Now usually, a penny with no mint mark is from the Philadelphia Mint. Nothing special, right? Wrong. Because a very small number of these 1986 Lincoln pennies were struck with an ultra-rare error. These coins had crazy sharp details, perfect centering, and an unusual coppery red glow that set them apart. Add in the no mint mark and a couple other quirks we'll get into in a minute, and bam, suddenly you've got a penny that's worth almost $2 million today. It looks like every other penny. Same Honest Abe. Same color. Same size. It doesn't scream I'm a millionaire coin. It just quietly sits there, waiting to be noticed. Like the Clark Kent of coins, first, check the date. It has to be 1986. No mint mark below the date, just a clean, empty space. That's step 1. Second, look at the condition. The valuable ones are usually in pristine shape, what collectors call mint state or uncirculated. That means no scratches, no green gunk from living under your car seat for a decade, and definitely no bite marks from when you were bored in 6th grade, but even if yours isn't flawless, don't count it out just yet. There have been circulated 1986 no-mint mark pennies that went for big money too. Why? Because of the details. Some of these rare pennies were struck using what's called a proof die, which gives them crisp features and a polished finish. Imagine giving a penny a makeover and a photo shoot. That's the level of detail we're talking about. Now let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was digging through an old coin jar at my grandma's house. I'm talking about one of those giant plastic jugs that once held cheese balls and now weighs as much as a small child. I sat there for hours, sorting through sticky nickels and dimes with mystery lint stuck to them. Just when I was about to give up and call it a day, I spotted a shiny 1986 penny. No mint mark. Clean as a whistle. My heart skipped a beat that I rushed it to a local coin shop like it was a lottery ticket. Now, spoiler alert, it wasn't the one. But the dealer told me it was still worth more than face value, and that I was on the right track. That one experience lit a fire under me. I've been hunting rare coins ever since, and I've learned that even the most boring-looking coin can hide a story worth millions, and speaking of millions, let's talk value. As of today, the 1986 no-mint mark Lincoln penny in mint condition has been valued at $1.9 million in a private sale. $1.9 million. For a coin you might have in your sock drawer, collectors go bananas for these because they're so rare and mysterious. Some experts believe there may only be a handful in existence that meet the perfect storm of condition, strike quality, and that missing mint mark. It's like finding a unicorn in your lunch money. Even if yours isn't a top-tier specimen, some of these have still sold for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Not too shabby for a coin that people usually ignore or leave in tip jars. So what should you do if you think you've got one? First, do a little at-home inspection with a magnifying glass. Look at the date, the missing mint mark, the overall condition. Then take it to a reputable coin dealer or submit it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll tell you if you've got a true treasure on your hands or just a really good story for your next family BBQ. So there you have it. The 1986 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a plain little copper coin that could be worth nearly $2 million. It's rare, it's mysterious, and it might be hiding in your change jar right now. Now here's the deal. Coin hunting isn't just about finding the million-dollar magic. It's about the thrill, the hunt, the stories you pick up along the way. It's about knowing that even the smallest, most ordinary things can hold unbelievable value. If you had fun with this video and want more coin tips, money-making strategies, and wild stories from the world of pocket change, then smash that subscribe button like you just found a $1 million penny. Don't forget to like the video and drop a comment if you've got a coin story of your own. Who knows, maybe your story will be the next one I tell. Alright, guys, let me ask you something. Have you ever thought that the change in your pocket could be worth more than your car? Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but stay with me because today, we're talking about a coin that could have you seriously reconsidering your collection of spare change. I'm talking about the 1995 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that, right now, is valued at a whopping $2.6 million. And no, this isn't some made-up story from the coin world, it's real, and we're about to dive into why that little penny could be sitting in your pocket, just waiting to make you a millionaire. But before we get started, grab that old jar of coins you've got sitting on your dresser, because you never know, you might just have one of these in there. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, a penny? Worth $2.6 million? Is this some kind of joke? But I promise you, it's not. If you've been collecting coins or even just paying attention to the world of rare coins, you'll know that some pennies are worth way more than their face value, and the 1995 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is one of the big ones. So let's start with the basics. The 1995 no-mint mark penny is a rare coin because it has no mint mark. For a bit of context, in case you're not a coin expert, no shame, I was once in the same boat. Most pennies minted by the US Mint will have a tiny letter on them, either a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia. But the 1995 no-mint mark penny? It was made in Philadelphia, but for some reason, they forgot to put the P on it. And while you might think, oh, that's just a mistake, it actually made this penny incredibly rare. When the mint made the mistake, they didn't exactly make a ton of them, which is why there are only a few of these coins in circulation. Now, here's where it gets interesting. For those of us who are into coin collecting or even just keeping an eye on rare items, we know that scarcity is everything. The fewer there are, the more valuable they become, and the 1995 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is an excellent example of this. This penny wasn't just a mistake, it was a rare one, and now it's worth a fortune. Let me tell you, I once had a similar experience with a coin. I was going through some old pennies I'd found in a box I hadn't opened in years, and I remember finding this one 1955 penny that looked, well, just like any other penny to me at the time. I didn't think much of it, threw it back into the pile, and figured, meh, it's just another penny. Little did I know, that thing could have been worth thousands if I had done a bit of research. It wasn't until I started paying attention to the world of valuable coins that I realized what I had missed. And trust me, I'm still kicking myself for not checking it out earlier. The moral of that story? Always take a second look at your change, because one man's, just a penny, is another man's fortune. Now, let's talk about how you can spot a 1995 no-mint mark penny. First things first, you're looking for a penny with no mint mark underneath Abraham Lincoln's shoulder. It should be a regular 1995 penny, but when you flip it over, there should be no mint mark in sight. If you do find one, don't just toss it into the jar like I almost did with that 1955 penny. It might just be a treasure. Okay, so how did this penny get to be worth $2.6 million? Well, as with anything rare, demand goes through the roof when collectors realize something is scarce. In this case, the 1995 no-mint mark penny hit the market, and coin collectors went wild. The price started climbing, and now, if you find one in mint condition, meaning it's been kept in pristine shape, you could potentially be holding a ticket to a fortune. And, if you've been paying attention, you know this isn't just some speculative hype. Recent sales have shown that this penny has sold for upwards of $2.6 million at auction, proving that it's not just a rarity, it's a serious investment for collectors. But let's take a step back here. I know you're probably wondering how to get your hands on one of these elusive pennies. And while it might sound like a needle in a haystack situation, it's not entirely out of reach. As with any rare item, it's about knowing where to look. And here's the thing, you don't necessarily have to be a coin expert to get lucky. Many collectors start with the basics, checking their own coin jar, looking through rolls of pennies, or even browsing online auction sites. Yes, the internet has made it easier than ever to find these types of coins, but it's also made it a little trickier to sort through fakes. That's why it's important to do your research, get your coin verified by an expert, and make sure it's the real deal before you start dreaming of your next vacation to Bora Bora with all that money. You're probably thinking, well, that's great and all, but how do I know if I have one of these pennies? Great question. The answer lies in checking the penny for its minting errors. You're looking for a very specific flaw, no mint mark. Sounds simple enough, right? But sometimes, it's easier said than done. So, if you think you've got one, take it to a professional for appraisal. Don't just trust anyone claiming to be an expert, find a reputable coin dealer or appraiser who can authenticate your find. I've seen it all, from people finding rare coins in their grandparents' old change jars to others stumbling across valuable finds in the unlikeliest of places. This one guy I know found a rare penny in a roll of coins he bought from the bank, just sitting there waiting to be discovered. It's those little moments that make the whole world of coin collecting exciting, and who knows? Maybe that penny you've got tucked away in your drawer will be the next big thing. Your quick guide to the 1995 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and how it went from being just another penny in circulation to a coin that could be worth $2.6 million. I hope this inspires you to take a second look at the pennies, and other coins, you've got lying around. You never know what treasures are hiding in plain sight. If this video has gotten you excited about checking your own change, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with all the latest tips and tricks on coins that are worth more than you might think. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just getting started, there's always more to learn in the world of rare coins. And trust me, you won't want to miss out on the next discovery. I bet you never thought you'd hear someone say the words penny and $2.7 million in the same sentence. Well, hold on to your hats because today, we're diving deep into a penny that could make you a small fortune. I'm talking about the 1993 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yeah, you heard me right, a penny. It's not a typo, and no, it's not a dream. This little coin could be worth a whopping $2.7 million. Now, I know what you're thinking, how can a penny be worth that much? Well, that's exactly what we're going to uncover today. Grab your magnifying glass, because this is about to get interesting. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just look at your spare change in a whole new light. And, of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss more tips on how to find coins worth serious money. Alright, let's start with the basics. You're probably wondering, why is this 1993 penny so valuable? I can find tons of pennies in my couch cushions. Well, the key to understanding this coin's worth lies in its rarity and the perfect storm of circumstances that made it so sought after. So, first off, let me tell you a little bit about this particular coin. The 1993 no-mint mark penny was part of the regular penny production by the US Mint. But here's where it gets interesting. Normally, pennies minted in Philadelphia carry a P mint mark, but in 1993, something went a little haywire. Some pennies were struck with no mint mark at all. This minor error made these coins stand out, and in the world of rare coins, mistakes like this are worth more than gold, or, in this case, copper. Now, you're probably thinking, how in the world did they miss that? Well, it happens. The minting process is complex, and not every coin makes it through the machines perfectly. But when a minting error happens, collectors go nuts. The more unique, the better, and this missing mint mark is one of those rarities that collectors and investors alike covet. The 1993 no-mint mark pennies are extremely hard to find. Because they were such a small batch, most were caught early on and pulled out of circulation. That means if you've got one of these in your collection, you could be holding a true gem. How do I know if I've got one of these rarities? Well, lucky for you, it's not too hard to spot. The first thing you want to do is check the date, 1993. Then, flip it over and look for that mint mark. If you don't see a P or any mint mark, you've got yourself a valuable coin. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, but if you get lucky, it could be your ticket to some serious cash. Now, let's take a minute to talk about why this penny is worth $2.7 million. We're not just talking about the fact that it's a rare error coin. No, we're talking about the incredible demand for these types of coins in the market. Collectors who are looking to complete their collections are willing to pay top dollar for the 1993 no-mint mark penny. And as the years go by, the demand keeps growing. I remember when I first got into coin collecting, back in the day, I thought I had a real gem when I found a 1965 dime. I was so pumped. But after having it appraised, I realized it wasn't worth nearly as much as I thought. That was a big, whoops moment for me. But that's the fun part of coin collecting, you never really know what you're going to find, and it's always a bit of a treasure hunt. So, one day, I was going through some loose change I'd found in an old drawer, just like you'd probably do when you're bored or looking for a couple of bucks for a coffee. And sure enough, tucked in the corner of a stack of pennies, I found a 1993 penny that didn't have a mint mark. My heart skipped a beat. I thought to myself, no way. Could it be? It wasn't the $2.7 million kind of find, but it was a wake-up call for me. I realized how easy it could be to overlook a rare coin just because it's, well, a penny. But that little moment taught me to start checking the details more carefully. If you're anything like me, you've probably got some old pennies lying around that you've never even thought to look at twice. Maybe, just maybe, you've got a hidden gem like that 1993 no-mint mark penny. The best part is, you don't have to be a coin expert to start looking for valuable coins. It's all about having the right knowledge and a little bit of patience. You could be sitting on a potential fortune without even knowing it. Now, you might not be holding a $2.7 million penny right this second, but even coins worth a few hundred or $1,000 can completely change your perspective on what's in your pocket. You just have to know what you're looking for and how to spot it. Alright, folks, let's wrap this up. The 1993 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a perfect example of how something as simple as a penny can become incredibly valuable if you know what to look for. It's rare, it's valuable, and it's the kind of coin that makes every coin collector's heart race. If you happen to find one, it might just be your ticket to a small fortune, and that's pretty exciting, don't you think? If you're ready to start hunting for these rare coins and adding some serious value to your collection, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You'll get more tips, tricks, and insider info on coins worth money. And hey, you might just find your next big score. Trust me, I'm here to help you navigate the world of rare coins, and you won't want to miss out. Now, go check your spare change, dig through those old drawers, and start looking for those hidden treasures. Who knows? You could be the next person to find a penny worth millions. Have you ever wondered if that loose change sitting in your drawer could be worth a small fortune? Well, buckle up because today we're diving into a coin that's got a lot of people scrambling through their pennies, the 1984 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And let me tell you, this coin is no joke. It's currently worth a jaw-dropping $2.8 million. Yup, you heard that right, $2.8 million. Really? Well, don't rush to toss that jar of change just yet. Stick with me, because we're about to uncover why this tiny coin is worth more than your average dinner out. It's one of those crazy rare finds that proves the old saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure, can be more literal than you ever imagined, and trust me, this story gets even better. I'll also share a little personal experience of mine from back in the day when I stumbled across something just as surprising in my own coin collection. So, grab your coffee, settle in, and let's talk about why this 1984 penny is worth way more than a cent. Alright, let's get into it. The 1984 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. If you're a seasoned coin collector, you probably know that coins without mint marks are pretty rare, especially in the modern era. But how did this particular penny end up with such a high market value? Well, here's the scoop. Most pennies minted in 1984, just like every other year, have a mint mark on them. If the penny was made in Philadelphia, it would typically have a P mint mark, and if it was produced in Denver, it would carry a D mint mark. But for some unknown reason, a small batch of pennies from 1984 came out without any mint marks at all. These no mint mark pennies have become one of the most sought after coins by collectors. Now, you might be asking, why are these so valuable? The reason boils down to rarity. Coins without mint marks are already a bit of an anomaly in the modern era. But when you add in the fact that the 1984 no-mint mark penny was produced in the early 80s, before the digital age of minting machines that track everything, well, you've got yourself an accident of history. This rare production error makes them incredibly valuable, especially to collectors who love a good mystery and a piece of history that's practically one of a kind. In case you're wondering, finding one of these coins in circulation today is like finding a unicorn. Most of the pennies were either spent or lost years ago. The ones that have survived are the ones that hit the jackpot. Coin collectors and investors keep a sharp eye out for this coin because it's not just valuable in the moment, it's a great investment in the long run. You might even think of it as the blue chip stock of pennies. And just like stock investments, the value continues to rise as fewer of these coins are found. I'll bet you're starting to wonder where you can find one of these pennies yourself. Now, I hate to burst your bubble, but don't expect to stumble upon a 1984 no-mint mark penny in your regular grocery store change anytime soon. These coins are extremely rare and are often sold at auctions or by reputable coin dealers who specialize in high-value coins. The truth is, if you're lucky enough to find one, it's likely to be an extremely valuable piece of your collection, and it could even make you a small fortune down the line. Now, let's talk condition. Like most valuable coins, the 1984 no-mint mark penny needs to be in great shape to fetch that sky-high price. If you find one of these coins, it better not have been used as a skateboard by your younger sibling or gotten dinged up in your coin jar for years. In mint condition, you're looking at something worth around $2.8 million. But if it's worn down or has noticeable damage, it's probably only worth a fraction of that. So, keep an eye out for one that's been preserved well and is in top-notch condition. While it's rare to find one in circulation, these coins do pop up from time to time. Coin shows, auctions, and online marketplaces are where you'll see collectors and dealers flipping these babies around like they're the golden ticket. So, keep your eyes peeled. Now, let me tell you a little personal story from my own coin collecting journey. A few years ago, I was going through some old pennies I'd inherited from my grandfather. Nothing too special, just a bunch of the usual suspects, Lincoln pennies, some wheat pennies, and a couple of those shiny ones from the 80s. I didn't think much of it until one day I spotted a penny that looked a little off. No mint mark. At first, I didn't think much of it. I mean, who cares about a penny, right? But something told me to dig a little deeper. So, I did what any self-respecting coin collector would do. I started Googling. I started seeing these stories pop up about rare minting errors, and bam! There it was. This penny I thought was just another old coin turned out to be a rare 1984 no mint mark penny. I couldn't believe it. Unfortunately, my penny wasn't in mint condition, so it wasn't worth millions like the ones you see in auctions. But the thrill of realizing I had something rare was enough to make me seriously consider keeping a closer eye on my spare change. Never underestimate the power of a little research and a keen eye for detail. Even the smallest coin can hold a lot of value if you know what to look for. The 1984 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is not just a rare piece of history, it's also one of the best examples of why you should never overlook those pennies in your pocket or change jar. Who knows, you might be sitting on a gold mine without even realizing it. If you've got old pennies lying around, it might just be worth taking the time to check them out. You never know what kind of treasure you could find hiding in plain sight. And while you're at it, remember to keep an eye out for those rare coins with minting errors. They could be worth a lot more than just a couple of bucks. Now, before I wrap this up, I've got one last thing to say. If you enjoyed learning about this incredible coin and want to stay in the loop on more tips about valuable coins and strategies for collecting, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on more ways to turn your pocket change into a small fortune. Thanks for watching, and remember, whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just someone looking to learn a little more about coins, you've got the power to spot treasure in your own hands. Alright, grab your change jar, check your pockets, and maybe take a good look at that pile of pennies you've been ignoring for years. Because today, I'm about to tell you about a penny that could make you a millionaire. Yes, you heard me right. A penny, worth a whopping $2.9 million. So, how does a humble coin like the 2001 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny suddenly become the talk of the numismatic world? Well, stick around, and I'll break it down. By the end of this video, you'll be checking your spare change more carefully than you've ever checked your bank account. Before we dive into this golden nugget of info, let me tell you about a time when I almost missed out on a huge coin opportunity. Trust me, it involves a random trip to the gas station, a penny, and a whole lot of regret. Let's just say, I'm kicking myself to this day. But don't worry, I'm here to make sure you don't make the same mistake. So, get comfy, because you might be about to find a treasure in your own pocket. First off, you've got to understand how coins work, and why some are more valuable than others. Most pennies you find in circulation are what we call regular mint coins. These coins are stamped with a mint mark to show where they were made, Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But this is where things get interesting. The 2001 no mint mark penny was produced in Philadelphia, but there was a rare error where the mint mark was left off. Now, I know what you're thinking. How does something like a missing letter turn a regular penny into a multi-million-dollar coin? Well, it's all about rarity. You see, when the US Mint made this mistake, they unknowingly created a coin that was incredibly rare, and as collectors and coin enthusiasts got wind of this, they started to go crazy for it. The coin's value skyrocketed because collectors knew they had stumbled upon something special. It wasn't just another penny, it was a piece of US history with an error that would make it stand out for years to come. Now, when I first heard about this coin's value, I was kind of in disbelief. I mean, who thinks a penny could be worth millions? But this coin is proof that in the world of coin collecting, even the smallest details can make a huge difference. Let me take you back to a personal story. A few years ago, I went on a little adventure to a yard sale, because, let's be real, you never know what kind of treasure you'll find. There I was, sifting through old books, random knickknacks, and yes, a jar of coins. At first, I almost skipped over it, thinking it was just filled with outdated change. But something caught my eye, a penny, much like the ones I had seen in countless coin rolls growing up. It wasn't shiny and new, but it had that nice coppery look, and I felt a weird urge to check it out. Turns out, it was a 2001 penny. Now, I don't want to get your hopes up, this one wasn't the no mint mark variety. But still, it was a reminder to always keep your eyes peeled. Just one of those little moments that gets you thinking, what if? And hey, that's what you've got to remember when collecting coins. Sometimes, those pennies in your wallet or sitting at the bottom of your change jar could be worth way more than their face value. In the case of the 2001 no mint mark penny, it's the error and rarity that make it a collector's dream. The 2001 no mint mark penny looks exactly like the regular 2001 penny from Philadelphia, except for that little detail, no mint mark. Like any valuable coin, the condition matters. The better condition the penny is in, the higher its value. So, if your penny looks like it's been through a few too many laundromats, you might be out of luck. But if it's still shiny and well preserved, you could be looking at a small fortune. As I mentioned, the no mint mark penny was made in Philadelphia, so it's pretty common to find them circulating across the country. The real trick is spotting one when it crosses your path. Keep an eye out. I also need to mention that, while the $2.9 million value is mind-blowing, that's for the best condition of the coin. In less than perfect shape, the value might still be impressive, but it won't hit the same insane price. So, always check the quality before you get too excited. And speaking of checking your change, it's not just about the pennies, there are other coins worth more than you might think, and you could be holding onto one without even knowing it. Alright, folks, here's the deal. If you've got a jar of pennies lying around, now's the time to go through it. You might just have a 2001 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny hiding in there, worth $2.9 million. And if not, hey, you might still find a few other gems along the way. I know this story has me digging through my own coins once again, and I'm sure it's got you thinking the same. Coin collecting is about more than just the money. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the history behind each coin, and, let's be honest, the joy of finding that rare gem. If you want more tips, tricks, and secrets about coins worth big money, be sure to subscribe. Don't miss out on more stories, strategies, and coin collecting hacks that could turn your hobby into a potential fortune. So, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment if you've ever found a coin that surprised you, and stay tuned for more. So, picture this, you're rummaging through your spare change, maybe sipping on some coffee, and you stumble upon a penny that just looks a little off. It's got a mint mark, sure, but this one's a bit different. You give it a closer look, and boom. You realize it's a 2017 Abraham Lincoln penny. And guess what? It could be worth up to $3 million, I know, sounds like something out of a coin collector's dream, right? But here's the kicker, it's not a 1 in a million chance. This penny could actually be the goldmine you didn't know you were sitting on. Stick around as I break down how this 2017 penny became a serious contender in the coin world, and why you might want to start keeping an eye on your change jar. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Alright, let's dive in and talk about the 2017 Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, I know what you're thinking, a penny? Really? Worth that much? Well, my friend, it's not your average penny. The value of coins fluctuates all the time, but this little guy stands out, and it's not just about how shiny it is or how well it was preserved. This coin has a fascinating backstory that might just blow your mind. First off, the 2017 penny wasn't anything extraordinary when it was first released. It's part of the usual production run, minted in Denver, hence the mint mark, and originally, it was just another penny in the pockets of millions of people across the country. But here's where it gets interesting. Over time, this coin became rarer and rarer due to a significant production error that was caught fairly late in the game. A few of these pennies, unbeknownst to most of us, ended up with a mistake that set them apart from the rest. You know how we're always told to check for those rare errors like doubled die, repunched mint marks, or incorrect planchets? Well, the 2017 D penny has a bit of a unique error that has driven its value into the stratosphere. Some of the 2017 D pennies ended up being misstruck. This can happen when the coin is struck with too much force or the wrong kind of die. In this case, a number of these pennies were struck with an incorrect die that made the Lincoln portrait a bit too sharp and distinct, giving the coin a unique, collectible quality that set it apart from the mass-produced ones. This unique error, when recognized by collectors and numismatists, sent the demand for these pennies through the roof. As time passed, fewer and fewer of these pennies with the error were found in circulation, and guess what? The value started climbing. Now, a 2017 D penny with that mint error can sell for anywhere up to $3 million. Okay, so now you're probably itching to check your change jar, right? But before you go diving into every penny you've got, let's talk about how you can actually spot one of these ultra-valuable 2017 D pennies. It's not going to be as easy as grabbing any old penny. You'll want to look for a few key details. As I mentioned, the error gives the Lincoln portrait a much sharper, more distinct look. If you find a penny where Lincoln's face looks almost too perfect, like it's been carefully etched into the coin, you might just have something special on your hands. Remember, this penny has the D mint mark, which means it was produced in Denver. If you find a 2017 penny without a mint mark, it's not the one you're looking for. Like with any collectible, the better the condition, the higher the value. Keep an eye out for those that are well preserved and still have that shiny copper glow. If you've got one with minimal wear and tear, it's definitely worth investigating further. Now, let me tell you a little story from my own experience. A few years ago, I was in the same boat, just casually flipping through some old coins I had lying around. I wasn't expecting much, just a few nickels, dimes, and pennies that had probably seen better days. But then, I came across a penny that looked just a bit different from the others. The image of Lincoln seemed a little too crisp, almost like it had been freshly printed on the coin. I decided to do a little digging, and it turned out I had stumbled across a rare 1990 penny with a minting error. It wasn't worth millions like the 2017 D, but I was still able to sell it for a decent chunk of change. What if it had just sat in my jar forever? That's when I got hooked on coin collecting. The thrill of finding that hidden gem is honestly one of the most satisfying things I've ever experienced, and trust me, if you haven't had that moment yet, you're missing out. So, now that you know what to look for with the 2017 D penny, you might be wondering, what other coins should you be keeping an eye on? Honestly, the possibilities are endless, and the world of coin collecting is full of surprises. I've come across some pretty crazy coins in my own adventures, and I'm always on the lookout for that next big discovery. Whether it's a rare error coin, a limited mintage coin, or even just one that's in exceptional condition, the more you know, the better your chances are of finding something worth a fortune. Start paying attention to the coins you handle every day. Check the dates, check the mint marks, and don't be afraid to look up coins online if you think something might be worth a little more than face value. You never know what you might find in your own collection. The 2017 D Abraham Lincoln penny with a rare mint error could be worth up to $3 million. Yes, you heard that right, $3 million. But don't go thinking all pennies are worth that much. As with any collectible, it's all about the rarity, the error, and the condition. If you want to start hunting for coins like this, remember to keep an eye out for those mint errors, unique characteristics, and of course, check your change every chance you get. And hey, if you want more tips on rare coins, coin collecting strategies, and stories about coin hunting, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got a ton more tips coming your way, and trust me, you don't want to miss out. So go ahead, give that bell a ring, and join the coin collecting community.